saying I didn't mean to go up there. We'll change him this evening so he can sit back here.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful, gorgeous day. We thank you for the ability to get together in this free country. Lord, we ask that you bless this meeting and the decisions that are made here in the city of Dry Ridge. We are just so thankful for your blessing and your guidance tonight. Be with us as we have this meeting and guide our decisions and our moves. We pray these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
We open up a meeting in the city of Capital Dry Ridge tonight. Pledge allegiance.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ashley Brinker, here. Sophie Hewitt, here. Jim Hendy,
Here.
Eric Brockman, Clay Crupper, Ron Maddox.
Make approval of the minutes. So we move. Second. First by Clay, second by Eric. All in favor?
I'm sorry, was that a second by Ron or by
Yeah,
Ron?
Ron. Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. Approve the agenda. So, approved by Jim, second by Eric. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. On the mayor's report there, just one update. If everybody walked in and noticed tonight, we're working on the firehouse over there. Got it all dug out today. Wasn't no big holes there to have to worry about, so had a little bit of reason most of the concrete. At one spot there was 4 inches, one spot there was 7 inches, one spot there was 3 inches. So all that was dug out. Bobcats were ran over top of the floor. Nobody went through the holes. There wasn't a big hole that was supposed to be in there. So hopefully Billy's going to pour the inside tomorrow, and hopefully outside on Thursday or Friday, depending on the weather. So that should take care of all that. Should be no big hassle. You know, wasn't no big 12-foot holes in there or nothing like that. So it should be all good there.
Yeah, I just want to go over, we have quite a bit of legislation on tonight, so I just want to explain it at this point. Tonight we have a second reading of 3 text amendments. These were, I would say, housekeeping text amendments. These were all passed by the Green County Planning Commission about a year or so ago. We can go over them a little bit more in length when we get the legislation, but these pretty much now just jive with what the county has on these issues. We obviously are kind of looking at a comprehensive reform of the planning and zoning code. I actually had a conversation with Jamie earlier today and was excited to see that that might be a plan of the, we don't call it the Grant County Joint Economic Development Group. By statute, I think it's still the Industrial Development Authority. So I think, we'll work it in partnership with them. But these are housekeeping orders that will just kind of help clean some things up. We also have an ordinance which is the creation of the CAO and wage scale. I don't know if the mayor's going to talk more about that later, but it's kind of odd. Dry Ridge did not have that position. They used to have that position in their employment manual. They do not anymore. So we needed to create that. It is not a new person that is being looked at for that. Again, if we have questions at that point, we can talk about it. It's just sort of a just a little bit of a refocusing. There would be no additional payroll, and a part of it is being driven because of Tank going to full-time and sort of fulfilling some of those, not full-time, I mean, I think it's public, isn't it? I hate
Yes,
this.
I've left to go full-time in another agency. So I'm staying here part-time to see if you can take care of information technology stuff, but not the planning, zoning, or code enforcement.
So some of it is just the centralization of that and the creation of that position. And we can, again, talk a little bit more about that in legislation, but tonight is just the first reading on that. The other issue on legislation is a municipal order, which is surplusing the K-9 unit. That would be surplusing it to the Madison County Sheriff's Department. They will provide a nice home for the K-9 dog and the vehicle that went with that. We do not need to bid that out since that is an intergovernmental transfer. We do need to go ahead and surplus it. And then the final housekeeping issue on legislation is the reappointment of Gary Stevens on the Dry Ridge Board of Adjustments. So that's all I have at this time. There.
Do you have anything, Amy, you need to?
You'll have your profit and loss statement for each one of the funds listed there. That would have been through last Thursday, when those are run as year-to-date through last Thursday. You will also have the purchase order report is in there, and that is for the month of February.
They're all on the website. They're all on the website.
Sure.
That's all you have, Amy?
Yeah.
Rodney?
Well, the month of February, we had 123 runs. There's a list of where we went and what they was. We also had our ambulance inspection. They was here, inspected the units, inspected all the paperwork. They found no technicalities. Everything went 100%. We also got the police of the city all Narcan trained, so they'll be carrying Narcan on the units. Sandy gave us a bunch of Narcan to assist with all of our overdoses, and also had some first aid class and put first aid kits in all the police cruisers and all the maintenance vehicles. So if the guys are out there and they cut themselves, or somebody has a wreck or something, they're there. Before we get there, they can start rendering names. Any questions? Thank you.
Rodney? Everybody good? Rick, you have any?
Right there's February police reports. Nothing outstanding up there.
Robbie, do you have anything on that?
Got my 3 from last month. My quarterly stage 2 testing all came back good, and then my 2 monthly also came back good. Everything's fine at this time, and then we're trying to get everything caught up with the towers for installing the new valves out there. They should be here Wednesday, so we'll go over that.
Is that all you got, Tom?
Yep.
Ken, you got anything on the sewer department there?
It's just our monthly going back to Williamstown. All those numbers are in compliance. And the other report is for our monthly report. Sub-zero weather kind of hampered a little bit on our things we were able to get done, but we shipped back a little over 8 million gallons at 238 average per day.
All right, Barry, you got anything on the road department?
Yeah, there should be
What we spent on salt last year, $6,927. This year we spent $63.77. Last year we bought 175 pounds of salt. This year we only bought 75. There's about a 30% increase in the price over prior year. And one of the things we did to cut down on that is instead of, as soon as it starts snowing, we don't go out and start salting the roads. We wait until close to the end of it, because we just don't have the money to be throwing salt out constantly. There should be some more on road repairs.
You open that document back up, there's no more that you still want to talk about.
Go back up a little bit. Salt truck repairs, supposed to be 1,600, not 16,000. But 1,600 repairs. On 2004 dump truck, it's in need of some major repairs. It's pretty much rusted to pieces, wiring issues. So something to think about for the future is replacement of that truck. You scroll down a little bit. On the cold patch, I think we got the majority of the holes patched, or we might have done a few we've missed. I'll get back on those tomorrow. The cost of that also went up from $130 a ton last year to $135 this year. Is there any pictures?
Your pictures with an arrow next to your pictures, your right, that you should be able to,
Other side.
on the right-hand side. It's right on your next to your picture.
Well, this is, the first one there was down by the pawn shop. That's a repair that we have to make. I don't have I had the cost on there, but I don't know where they went to. Yeah, sure, I spent cost and everything. But regardless, this is the street that's in question. This is behind Fort Bank. I was told it was our street. I was told it wasn't our street, but I did fill the potholes in it. And I don't know if that's something, Jack, you can look at. I don't know.
Brett, did you talk to the state on that? Did you?
Apparently, when the bypass and stuff went through, there's supposed to be, I guess, he talked with the city or someone from the state about us taking over certain sections. Just the paperwork fell through. So currently, I guess it's owned by the city. But I think they want to plan on turning it over to the city, but that's going to be the cost that we take it as is right now. So I'm still waiting on him to get up the official paperwork. They said something about drawing a deed, and he's waiting on me to get them answers on state legal.
This is Kings Drive. At the end of Kings Drive, there was a big tree at that turnaround there that actually blew over last summer, and me and Rob went up and cut it up. And it's allowed the garbage truck to make an extra wide turn there, so that's another repair that we're going to have to make. And I'm sorry, I apologize, I thought I had the cost on here, but I will get them for you next meeting, because the repairs aren't going to be made until probably May or June at the earliest, when the blacktop plant gets open and going. And the other one was arbors. We're going to do some repairs on arbors. As far as streets, if anybody has any potholes on your streets that haven't been filled, I apologize, let me know, and we'll get them taken care of.
We appreciate Barry going out and doing all that, get them potholes all filled as quick as possible. The weather just didn't cooperate, so it took a little bit longer than we planned. If anybody that has one, just get a hold of us and we'll get it taken care of. parts, Barry, anything?
No, it's operational. Right now, water was left on all winter, but we have one door down there to the bathroom that the frame is messed up on that we have to get fixed. But other than that, that's the only issue with the parts that I'm aware of at this time.
Right, we had one issue with the lighting down there that, I guess, it was put in with plastic switches and just ball bats and whatever, took care of them, so, we replaced them with, steel, covered plate switches so that, that problem should be taken care of. I got a call and said we couldn't get the lights on in the park and, went down, had that repaired, so that should take care of the metal switches, should take care of that. Have a few other issues on that, but we'll address that next meeting. Planning and zoning, what you got on that, Ken?
This is the report for the county. Uncle Leroy's out there on Fashion Ridge at the mall. They're putting in an Amish store, and that was the only one that we had in Dry Ridge. Permits issued, one pool, one demo, one board of adjustment. Board of adjustment was for Mr. Marshall out here on Cole Road.
Did they get that straightened out on that water line, or did he?
Yeah, we've got our water line marked now, so it'd be up to them to decide how they want to adjust their building.
Rick, you got anything on the rec we finish up?
You say there's a YouTube stat for last month, and then just a breakdown of stuff I covered.
One other thing I need to cover on the planning and zoning, Mayor. Rob Feldman up at 12 Cross Street, his home is currently zoned Central Business District, and he wants to get the city's blessing on turning that back into an R2 zone. And he wanted to run it by council and make sure that everyone, along with the council and mayor, that he applied for that application to get that done.
Did you tell him to apply?
I just told him that I would present to council tonight, and if it's okay with council, that it's surrounded by R2. It was spot zone years ago for Mr. Best to do his HVAC business down there.
Right.
So returning it to its original zone of R2 would be compatible with everything that's around it.
Okay.
But he is going to go through the zone change process.
He is. He just wanted to make sure it was okay with the city before he spent the cost of the zone change, and just want to get city thoughts on it.
Anything else on that? That was all you had on that, Ken?
Yeah, the RV that was on North 25 for however long, it's been moved. It was illegally parked, and along with the police department, I went down and we addressed that, and all the remaining vehicles that were there with no current registration have been moved as well.
That's anything you need to think of, you know, you did, I'm sorry. ABC, there's nothing on that right now. I guess we have something on a wing supply here, request for a statement for a penalty on interest and payroll taxes. Is there somebody here?
They're not, they sent this letter is what they sent. Their payroll taxes were due in, just like everybody else's, by January 31st, the close of business. Their payment in return was received on February the 1st, like many others were. They are always dated the date that we received them. They did receive penalty and interest on that. They did not send in payment by the end of February, which by ordinance there is a 1% per month So that changed it again, increased their penalty that they had, for the interest on there because it was not received in February, just like, the notice we gave. They have paid that, however, they are asking council to write those off and refund those amounts.
Amy, I wasn't aware of this until tonight, so I have not pre-prepared looking at the ordinance. Does the ordinance allow any appellate opportunities for business owners?
It does not allow us to write those off. And I'm not 100% the wording on there. I believe it does say that it, all appeals and everything you have to go to council.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we wrote one off for one business who was a first time ever being late on their account and so forth. We wrote that off. The second one that came in front of council, they decided that they were not going to write those off because that is what ordinance stated. So I told her that, when Karen spoke with her, she decided that she did not want to drive up to Louisville, but they would send a letter asking council. So that was the letter that they sent.
One goes back to the same thing we did for one.
I apologize to council, I was not aware that this issue was on here. I probably should have looked at the agenda. I don't really know what's put on the agenda. I haven't seen this letter before tonight. I'd like to list the ordinance. I'm a little uncomfortable. I mean, a city can get into trouble with an issue like this if they're arbitrary and capricious. So I don't know what standards we utilized the last time that we released somebody.
The council voted on it.
So what was the reasoning? Y'all remember it, because
This person hadn't been late before.
yeah, so on those kind of, I mean, I would prefer to have, maybe, and maybe that's something we need to look at, is re-looking at the ordinance, tweaking what that appellate rights are. I mean, if we're gonna have a first-time offender abatement, then we probably should write that in the ordinance, and we should do that for everybody. This appears to be, it was postmarked on time, but was not received on time.
Correct. The city ordinance does not allow for postmarks, and so it was dated, I believe, I'm not sure exactly, I think in the end of January, 2 or 3 days before it was due.
I mean, if council's okay, I'd prefer to, I mean, we're only talking about $300 or something. I think if they waited a month, I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over it.
If they have paid it, there are no additional penalties or interest on it. They have sent in both late payments and have paid it. They just are requesting a refund of those amounts.
Is council okay if I just kind of look into it, maybe we look at tweaking the ordinance to build in some standards on abatement, if any? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if many cities would abate it, period. But if we've done it once, then we have to be fair about this problem.
Done it once and denied it once.
Okay, what was the reasoning to deny it?
This is the second time she admitted it in the letter.
Okay. All right. So our pattern is first-time offenders.
I think the second time we kind of decided that we need to stop it.
And not do it.
Postmark, a lot of.
The trouble with postmark is, because we do it with the business license, I can go up to the machine and run the envelope through today, but not mail it for 4 weeks later.
Sure.
So that's what you're running.
I would like to look into it. Council's okay with that? What do you get?
You already did. I guess we have a bid opening for the 2007 Crown Vic. Do you have papers on that? Amy?
Oh, yes, they are attached. I didn't have a bid
Okay.
sheet or anything like that, but your minutes are there that show your two bids.
Okay.
But that's just literally what was given to us. You can see them side by side in the minutes, at who gave what and what the amounts were.
So it looks like, the two bids there, it looks like Tim had the highest bid, so,
Was that $503.17?
I think that's what I'm doing.
I mean,
Allison did that.
yeah, right, I was going to say that, like, you thought someone bid 500, so you beat them by $3.17. So we need a motion to accept one of those bids.
So do we have a motion to accept the bid for Tim?
Is that Jim?
Yeah. Second by Carissa. Need a roll
Was
call?
that Trish?
Right, I'm sorry. Can we have a roll call, please?
Ashley? Yes. Bertha? Yes. Jim?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Motion carried on that. Unfinished business, I don't have anything in that right now. New business, we have Jamie Baker Nance with us to address the council on some of her plans for ongoing.
And if you wouldn't mind using the microphone, that way it can be heard on the room. Oh, I don't think that I'm trying to hear. Thank you.
I wonder if we can turn the light on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any way to turn the light off, right?
I know she likes the spot.
Thank you all for having me. This is, usually I come, can you all hear me? First of all, okay. Usually I come once a year and kind of give a report on what the office has done, because we have 3 entities out of that office, and so this was my time to come and do that. And I joked that I did Williamstown first, and they timed me, and I was, went a little long there, and Crittenden I was a little shorter, and I said, look, it's this way. It's a whole year's worth of activity, so you either have to have me come more often so I talk less, or you have to indulge me so I can get it all out in one meeting. So I'll try to be brief, but there is a lot going on, and it's a good time in Grant County. From an economic development standpoint, Jack's familiar with the Grant County Joint Industrial Development Authority. That's a mouthful to say. Pretty much these days, everybody calls it economic development, because that encompasses a lot more than just industry. I can tell you that within the last 6 months especially, we've had folks looking at diverse properties here. We've got a couple prospects. And a lot of times when these folks contact me, I have no idea what kind of industry we're talking. They don't tell me the number. They may tell me the number of jobs they're looking at. They may have specific questions about water usage. The last call that I got was a pretty high water usage company, but they don't tell me typically in those initial stages who they are. Just kind of what they're looking at. They were also looking at Patno property in Williamstown. We've had some that have looked at the Crittenden Industrial Park because there's still some land available up there. So that's a good sign when in the last 6 months you start to see people interested in purchasing property for industry. We've also had folks looking at the Dry Ridge Outlet Center for a couple of different retail restaurant outlets. As Tim said earlier, Uncle Leroy is coming. With that development, it's going to be an Amish deli and a restaurant, and then bulk food sales. And I think that's a good thing. I think that will go well in Grant County. I'm glad to see that in Dry Ridge. I know they're changing the face of what that looks like outside. I think if they could have probably had the capital and that property would have been for sale, I think they could have changed the entire look of that. We all know it's kind of stuck in the 80s because that's when it was built. But I think that could become, eventually with some things happening out there and becoming an anchor, I think that could become a destination for folks looking for something to do in Grant County and in Dry Ridge. One of the things that we've done through economic development, we've established an industrial leadership council, and that's basically where about 3 or 4 times a year I invite the industry leaders in Grant County, and I gave you an economic development sheet that I put together with some facts on there. We invite those folks in and we ask them the question, what is it that you need from us to do business? How can we keep you here in Grant County? Because we know it's a lot easier to retain a company than to recruit a new one. And so that had not been done before in Grant County, and that was something that I felt like we needed to start that conversation. And the last meeting that we had was a couple of weeks ago. We had 25 in attendance. Some of our big industry leaders were there. We had it out at Grant County High School at the Tech Center so they could see what that we have in Grant County. I think the Tech Center is one of those things that's a really well-kept secret in Grant County, to let people know that. There are kids that come out of the Tech Center and graduate. They're going to work for companies making $50,000 a year. That's pretty impressive because you know that not every kid's going to go to college. But for them to come out and be able to make that kind of money and support their families, and a lot of those companies are putting them through school beyond that. So I mean, there's a whole, they're doing some good things out there. And I certainly wish back in the day when I was in high school that I would have had some of those opportunities. But if you've not been out to the Tech Center, I encourage you to go. It is phenomenal. The things, robotics. I mean, who would have thought high school kids? Kids are coming out of there with their certified nursing assistant degree. And I've been told, just by folks in conversation, that our kids that go on to work at St. Hospital and other places, you can tell the difference in the kids who've been well trained at a program like that. So I think those are plus things for our community, and we need to let our industry leaders know that, because sometimes they can tailor certain programs to certain needs that our industry would have. So again, those conversations and networking. We're working on Grant County becoming a work-ready community. That's a program through the state, and there's a lot of moving parts to that. We've been granted an extension for 2 years to try and get that done. The big thing is, if you're looking at a map of the state of Kentucky, and Grant County is the only county, and all the surrounding counties have work-ready status in the community, and we don't, we look like a giant target. So we want to say to employers in the business community, we are work-ready. We have a workforce. We have programs in place that are addressing things like graduation rates and just a variety of things. So there's a group that's been working on that for a couple of years now, and we've got some good traction on that. We feel like we're going to be able to get that. I also participate in a group called the Northern Kentucky Allies, and that's economic development leaders from across Northern Kentucky. You're talking transportation officials, you're talking Duke Energy, you're talking the railroads, you're talking highways, CVG, the airport. It's just a good opportunity to sit in and hear what's going on in the rest of the region, because for many years I feel like Grant County was probably the ugly stepchild in Northern Kentucky, and now that we've got the arts here, we've got people coming, we've got some things happening, we've got a lot of people taking notice of who we are and want to be a part of that. So that's a good networking opportunity for me to represent the county. I'm also a member of the Kentucky Association of Economic Developers. I attend their conferences. As a matter of fact, I'm going to a meeting in Lexington tomorrow for the Opportunity Zone. Part of Grant County has been designated as an Opportunity Zone, and there's some money that comes attached to that. I wish I could tell you a little bit more about it, but that's why I'm going tomorrow to learn exactly what that means and how we can capitalize on that. I work very closely with the Economic Development Cabinet in Frankfurt. We get leads from them. I feed them leads. They're very good at working with us on incentive packages and that kind of thing, and they're my go-to people. I was also asked a few months ago to participate in what's called a FAN tour, and that's familiarization. And they actually brought in about 12 site developers from all across the country to Lexington. They wined them and dined them basically for 3 days. They got to shoot hoops with the Cats. They got to meet Coach Cal. They took them to Keeneland. But they gave them a taste of Kentucky. And then they brought in people like myself that do economic development. And we basically was kind of like speed dating. You had like 5 minutes to introduce yourself, make your pitch for your community, And my thing is location, 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 because that's what Grant County has to offer. Plus, we have a lot of land that's available for development. So hopefully we'll see some folks. You had people there that represented large industries. You had people there that represented small retail businesses. So it was a cross-section, but that was the first one of those that I participated in, and I thought it was a good opportunity to get our name out there. So again, I look forward to doing some more of those. One of the other things that we put together out of our office is also a hotel-restaurant association. We're in the process of forming that. Again, it's the same. I looked at economic development and the industrial side. I felt like the hotel restaurant folks really didn't have an opportunity to come together, and we needed, as tourism, and with this tourism driving our economy so much, we needed the ability to speak to them and talk to them about things we're doing. So we've kind of formed that. My goal was maybe 3 or 4 times a year to get together. We had our first meeting, and everybody was so enthusiastic that we're meeting again this month. So that's a good sign when you got people that are positive. And you can say, well, we don't have that many hotels. We don't have, well, let me tell you something. We don't have the hotels, but we are very close, hopefully, to making an announcement in Williamstown on some property. Crittenden has just approved a hotel restaurant down there on property. And I can tell you that I'm working with an international group of investors that are looking to put more hotels and restaurants in Grant County. So there's things like that that are happening. Again, before the ARC opened, we estimate that we had about 4 Airbnbs in Grant County. We're up to at least 60, and we're not even sure that's an accurate count right now. So Airbnbs, which are people renting out their homes, is very lucrative business and very successful at this point. So again, those numbers get to count towards the number of hotel rooms that we have with the state, since the state considers it. So that's very exciting time. As tourism and economic development go hand in hand in Grant County, because tourism is going to drive our economy. We had our chamber breakfast this morning at the ARC. We had very good attendance. And their expansion plan, it's about a 20-year build-out at the ARC, what they plan to do and what they plan to add, because they understand that you don't just build an attraction and then leave it. If you want people to keep coming back, you have to add to it continually. You have to change. That place doesn't even look the same. If you've not been out there in a while, it doesn't look the same today as when they first opened. And it will continue to evolve. The other thing that tourism sent me to do was my very first bus tour working, and it was like speed dating for bus tour operators. So over the course of 2 days, I met with 42 bus operators. And I told folks this morning, I said, I talk a lot, and I don't get tired of talking. Let me tell you, after 2 days of talking about Grant County, I was a little wore out. But the one thing from every person that came up to our table, and these were folks that made appointments with us, and I was part of a Northern Kentucky group that went. We had the Boone and Campbell there in Maysville. We all shared a table. We were right next to the aquarium, the Hofbrau House, and B&B Riverboat, and then the ARC was on the other side of it. So Kentucky was well represented at this show. And the one thing that people came up and said to me was, we've either A, already been to the ARC, but we're planning to come back, you need more hotels, and you need more restaurants, and you need something for us to do when we're there. We will bring tour bus groups to you, but if you don't have a unique experience, we're going to go north or south because you can't keep us there. And what they're looking for in a unique experience, over in Maysville, they have a McGee's Bakery, and the lady was telling me they do this. They bring bus tours in. You get to roll out your own pie dough. You get to make your own filling. You get to stamp it. You get to bake it and take it home. And so people are looking at things that they can do that they can go back home and brag to their friends about. And so we've got to figure out some more things like that to keep those folks here. Because the average traveler that will come to a community and stays one night will spend almost $200 in that time frame that they're here. That's money we want here. Those are clean dollars. Those are good dollars. One of the big things that tourism has undertaken, and I was telling Jack about this today, and you all have a copy of that in the information I gave you, tourism paid for what's called the First Impressions Project, and that was a partnership with the University of Kentucky. It cost $5,000, but they basically sent secret shoppers into our community, and they kind of drove through really quick and wrote down their first impressions, and then they came back and they actually spent about 24 hours here staying in our hotels and eating in our restaurants going to the Ark. They stopped in at the firehouse in some case. They stopped in my office. We didn't know who these people were. And they asked questions. Well, what's this? Well, what's that? Well, what's there to see? What's there to do? And the results of the survey are interesting. They went to one business that was an RV place, a campground, and the gentleman asked him what the blank they were doing in his property and to get out of it. And what he didn't realize about these people that were asking questions, they represent an RV group that goes around the country looking for campgrounds to bring their big group to. Now, what do you think their impression of Grant County? Not very favorable. So I say that because it's a reminder we're all ambassadors for Grant County and for tourism, because you never know who's going to be approaching you. But the big thing that came out of the First Impressions meeting was there's some things we need to do different. We need to make our community look a little better. We need to have a little pride in our community. We need a beautification project. There's no signage from one end of the county to the other that will tell you, hey, I'm still in Rankin County, but this is Crittenden, this is Dry Ridge, this is Williamstown. So that got me to thinking. And I thought, why reinvent the wheel? Williamstown has done a pretty good job in their downtown. They've got some nice flower planters, stands. What if we all came together to form a committee? Tourism can lead that effort. Tourism can put the money into that. And we asked each of the cities and the county to put some money. I've already met with the mayors and the judge about this. What if we put that money in? We say, okay, let's mimic what Williamstown has done in our other cities. Let's start to clean them up. I don't care what color flowers you plant, just that we have a uniform look. Let's get some signs out that say, welcome to Grant County, Crittenden, home of Grant County Park, Dry Ridge, home of the Dry Ridge Outlet Mall, or whatever it is that the community wants to say about itself, let's do that. And then you start to, when I think your residents start to see that you're taking pride in your community, maybe they'll start to take pride in the community and help clean it up. So that's a project that's very kind of near and dear to my heart. And so as part of the First Impressions program, I had a community meeting. We had about 25 folks there. And we broke off in small groups. And we said, okay, what are the things that we can tackle with the community, short term and long term? And the number one thing, and this is a little shocking to come out of kind of First Impressions, you think of more of that as visual, but the number one thing that came out of that meeting was our planning and zoning regs are prohibited to development and growth because everybody has a different standard in Grant County. And I was told that half the zones in Crittenden are non-conforming. Well, why would you want a city of non-conforming zones? That doesn't even make good sense. The other thing we heard was it's the length of time it takes to get through the process. If it takes 6 months in Grant County, but it only takes 3 months in Boone County, where do you think developers are going to go? Where there's less regs and there's less red tape to get through. So when Jack and I were talking today, I got really excited because he said the city wanted to work on that, and I said, well, that's been the number one thing I've been talking to Chuck about. We're in the process of a comprehensive plan. Now it's time for us to address those things. And there are communities out there that, let's say you've got a 100-acre farm out here that's agriculture. If that community identifies that really is more of a neighborhood commercial zone, they'll go ahead and write that into the plan. The farmer doesn't pay any more money on the taxes as long as it's an ag use. But then if a developer comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for neighborhood commercial and I want 100 acres, those changes are already in place. That speeds that process, makes us a little bit more attractive, because when you were talking about luring industry and companies and recruiting, you're competing, and there are cities out there that will say to a company, oh, it's not at you if you'll come here. We don't have that kind of money in Grant County. So we've got to be creative in the ways that we do go about attracting development. And I'm not talking that we go in and we throw everything out so that our landowners aren't protected. I'm a landowner in Grant County. I want my property protected. But we've got to do it in a smart way, and we've got to do it in a way that we're working together that makes sense. So I was very excited when I talked to Jack because we were on the same page with some things, and you're going to hear a lot more about that because that's the number one thing we've been talking to the judge and others about that the IDA is concerned about. We want to get that fixed so that we can say to folks, we are development ready. We want you to come here. Again, you'll hear me talk a little bit more about the beautification project. I've talked to Greg in the mayor's meeting with the judge about that. Another thing that tourism is doing, we're actually going to staff the William Arnold Log Cabin this summer. That's been something I've been working on. But we're going to use that as a mini visitor center. Tourism is paying for that. And we've been taking applications. We've got some good ones, and people are saying, well, what are the hours? Well, I don't know yet, because what we're going to try to do is determine when are folks coming there? When are folks coming and looking for things to do? Because that's when we want to staff them. That's when we can direct them, hey, we've got the Dry Ridge Antique Mall, we've got the new Amish restaurant, we've got Beans, we've got Williamstown Marina, we've got things for people to do, but we've got to figure out when they're coming so we can do that. But on the flip side of that, and the businesses kind of get aggravated at me when I say this, if our businesses truly want business, they're going to have to be open in hours that people are coming. And one of the things that I heard somebody say in Kiwanis the other day was that they wanted to shop local right before Christmas. So they went around looking for businesses that were open the Saturday before Christmas. They found very, very few. And in some towns, they found none. So they couldn't spend their dollars local because there wasn't anything to spend their dollars on that was open. So there's got to be a mindset shift in that thought process too. But we're going to keep talking about that. The weekend of May 18th and May 19th, we've been designated as Preservation Tour Kentucky 120. That's a big title, but I'm not sure what all that means, other than every county in the state of Kentucky are going to have their historic sites open. So we're working with Sherman Tavern and the William Arnold Log House to have some things open. And I envision that someday we'll have costumed interpreters there, that we'll have set hours that visitors can, people love to come and tour this kind of thing. So we will be able to offer that. And again, another thing that we can do. We do a lot of advertising and marketing and promotion. I don't know if you saw our commercials on Channel 12 and Channel 19 last year. We did one that was specific to tourism, and we did one that was specific to economic development. And basically we were saying, Drake County's open for business. And we went and we shot video of different things in Drake County where you could locate a business. And it was, I thought it was a good effort. Tourism, again, funded that. But the producer that did those commercials for us contacted me and said that the city of Florence saw Grant County's commercials and contacted them and said, whatever Grant County's doing is doing the right thing, we want to do it too. We want to do a commercial. So I thought, you know what, it's about time we start getting recognized for doing some things right. So I was pretty proud of that. We are also in negotiations to partner with them again for other commercials and other things. And that, again, is we're doing the whole community. It's not just one, it's everybody. Because I truly believe we will succeed together or we will fail together. It can't be that we're islands unto ourselves. The time is coming home for that. We advertise in a lot of different magazines, Blue Ridge Outdoors, Southern Travel and Lifestyle, Florida Publications. We also contribute, when I say we, I'm talking about tourism, to a lot of the sponsorship of activities. We've done Rockin' the Ridge, which I told Greg I understand not doing it this year, but we'd be happy to partner when you bring that back. Because again, if we don't have a lot of attractions for people to come and spend their time here, then you have events. Because it's the same thing, that's tourism. That's what draws people. So we've also are doing a second annual triathlon. This is a brochure in the packet I gave you. If you would have told me at some point that we would have had almost 300 people swimming, running, and biking through Grant County, I would have said you're nuts. But we did it last year. For the first event, we had 275 registered to do that. And we're already, registration's open, and we've already collected like $4,000, and it's not till July. So people who do this love it. And so again, we're bringing people to Grant County. We're hoping to keep them here all weekend, give them something to do, and to spend their dollars here. We work really closely with the ARC. They have their own marketing budget and their own marketing strategy, but there's no denying that in the last, since they've opened, which will be 3 years in July, there have been close to 2 million people that have come to Grant County because they have those numbers. There was one day I went down and counted myself, 32 buses. 32, that's a lot of folks, because you got to figure there's 40 to 50 people on a bus that are coming to Grant County. We're working on the Heritage Trail project, which is going to connect north to south, Corinth to Crittenden. It's a multi-use trail. It's equestrian, it's biking, it's hiking, It's a lot of things. But it not only is it going to attract people to come here for tourism, but it's improving the quality of life for our residents. So tourism over the next 3 years voted to put up $15,000, $5,000 each to help with the development of that trail. And there are certain portions of it that have already been done. We just got to connect them all. Some of it's property right away. We've written a grant for that, and we anticipate that we will get that grant this year from the state. They just didn't fund any of the grants last year, but if we get it, we're talking close to $1 million grant that we've got for the community. Again, improving the quality of life for everybody. We are promoting visit grantky.com. That's our website. We want that to be the site where everybody goes for events and coverage of things like that. We're in the process of changing that. And on the Chamber of Commerce side, all the cities and counties are members of the Chamber. We meet on the third Monday of the month, except for January and February. We meet on the third Tuesday this month because it's a federal holiday. Sometimes we hold our meetings off-site like we did today. The ARC hosted it. Most of the time they're at 8 o'clock at the Grant County Extension Office. And we go out and we get sponsors to cover that breakfast. And we pay the homemakers for the food that they fix for us. And in turn, that funds their scholarship program. So again, the money turns over in Grant County again. But you all are more than welcome to come and check out. I think we have good meetings with a lot of good information. I'll be calling on Greg to come at some point to kind of give a state of the city address. We try to do that with all the officials. Membership in the Chamber is based on the number of employees, and the cost ranges from $75 for your base price of 1 to 4 employees, all the way up to 100 or more employees is $600. So very affordable compared to the chambers around us. We have over 200 members, and most of them are $75 members. So it's small businesses or organizations. We offer that rate to the churches. We've tried to encourage everybody to get involved with the chamber because we think that's a good sounding board and a good place, a melting pot. Another project that we're working on is Market on Main, which I think I spoke to you all about that before, some of you that were on council. It's not just a farmer's market. It would be a market for art, crafts. It would be music. It would have food trucks. And it's one of those things where we are so in the infancy stage with it, we're not even born yet. So it's not even that we're ready to crawl. We've got to do some things. But one thing that I found out is we did our first Farm to Table event last year, and that money went to a different project. But that money can be earmarked for a market project through the Kentucky Department of Ag. So we're planning to do another Farm to Table event. We used culinary kids from Grant County High School. The evening was the food was wonderful. That just turned out really well. But this year, all that money was probably in September, and all that money is going to go to a Market on Main project. And again, we're forming a board with that. We don't know if it's going to be in Williamstown, Dry Ridge, a combination of both. We want it to be beneficial to all of our cities and drive the economy because other communities have these things. The Chamber also does a country Christmas. We've been doing that for the last 15 years. And it's grown. Unfortunately, the rain beat us last year. I think we got, of all the events we were involved with, we got 1 of 6 in with no rain. So hopefully, knock on wood, I think we're due some good weather for this year. But again, that's a partnership between tourism, the Chamber, and economic development. And then this Friday night is our banquet. This is our 49th year as a Chamber. So next year, we're going to have a big blowout celebration for our 50th, but we give away the Grant County of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and the Excellence in Education and Excellence in Business Award. And we've got about almost 200 reservations, so that's a pretty good size banquet. In conclusion, we want to be a welcoming environment, and that's going to take the schools, it's going to take government, it's going to take business, it's going to take the cities, it's going to take everybody working together. Because like I said, we are all ambassadors for Grant County. And I enjoy this job very much. I enjoy representing Grant County. And I think that's where, we've got to realize we're not the community that we were 15, 20 years ago. We've evolved and we've changed, and we're going to continue to change and grow. And Grant County is going to look different. And I'm really optimistic. I had somebody say to me one time, well, gee, you're really the eternal optimist. And I said, well, the alternative is either you're dead or really pessimistic. And I choose neither of those right now because I think that optimism is what we need, and that's what will carry us forward. So I have attached my cards on that information. so you all have my cell number. I don't come to a lot of meetings, the city council meetings or fiscal court meetings, not because I don't like you guys, but because my time, I think, is better served in economic development things and networking with others to bring businesses here. So I'm happy to come anytime you all would like me to. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me at the office. We got a lot of projects, but I think it's a really good, exciting time in Grant County. So if you all have any questions for me, I know I talk a lot and I talk fast, but you're probably thinking, yeah, we should be quiet. But again, you either have to have me more often or I have to get it all out at one time. So does the audience, does anybody have any questions?
I just appreciate all the hard work you've done.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's a lot, it truly is a lot of fun. And you know, I wasn't born and raised in Grant County, but I've lived here long enough and I feel like it's home, because it is, because I do live here. And so it's easy I think when you're passionate about something, it's easy to let that shine through. And I'm not afraid to introduce myself to anybody, or I'm not afraid to, I've walked up to hoteliers that I don't, who they are, and I'm like, I need you to come to Drake County, here's my card, you can call me. And the funny thing is, I had one to call me once, and he called and he said, I've been driving around Drake County, we need to talk. And so, again, I think it's that connection, it's not being afraid to say, hey, I want you to come where I'm for business, which is what those commercials were really all about. So, but again, please contact me if y'all have any questions. Happy to come back, happy to work with you. It's a good partnership, it's a good thing we've got going with the cities and the county, and I appreciate the opportunity to work for us. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for your time.
All right, we are now to legislation. I'd say it's tough to follow, Jim, maybe. Now, I remember when all those entities were somewhat separated, when the chamber joined up with the industrial authority, and then they kind of merged with tourism.
Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have reinvented the organization. That's awesome. And for background, I was on that board from 03 to 13, so I saw it back when it was truly an industrial authority, because tourism was an afterthought in Grant County at that point. First legislation is an ordinance of the City of Dry Ridge, Grant County, Kentucky, amending the Dry Ridge zoning ordinance, adding text in the zoning classification for the R1E zone. By summary, you can see that we are adding section 2.5 R1E zone. This does match what the county has. For some reason, the R1E zone was not included in the Dry Ridge zoning code. This was recommended by the Grant County Planning Commission after a public hearing was held, and was recommended, or is recommended on the following grounds. The proposed text amendment is authorized to be included within the city zoning ordinance pursuant to KRS 100.203. That the proposed text amendment is consistent with the purpose of the residential zone, is consistent with Grant County's residential zone. The proposed text amendment is reasonable. That the proposed text amendment will not have an adverse effect on the public health, safety, or welfare, nor will be injurious to the public residing in or moving through the area. And again, based on the testimony that was presented at the public hearing on September 19, 2017, if that date is accurate. This is a second reading. It will require a motion and vote. Motion to approve.
Motion by Eric, second by Carissa. Roll call, please.
Ashley?
Yes.
Bertha? Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes. Second is ordinance number 859-2019, an ordinance of the City of Dry Ridge, Grant County, Kentucky, amending the Dry Ridge zoning ordinance by adding the requirement of the site plan to the CBD zone. In summary, the Dry Ridge Council approves a said text amendment to section 10.9E4 by requiring a site plan as regulated by section 9.20 site plan to this ordinance, and it shall be required for any use permitted in the zone. That would be for new businesses. I had a couple of questions of people saying, hey, do I now have to submit a site plan if I'm currently in the zone? But no, that would just be for new businesses. and, or I should say, new development. And again, this was approved at a public hearing on October 31st, 2117 by the Grant County Planning Commission, and the proposed text amendment is authorized pursuant to KRS 100.203. The proposed text amendment is consistent with the purpose of central business zone by putting in development controls to benefit the entire central business district. The proposed text amendment is reasonable. The proposed text amendment will not have an adverse effect on public health, safety, or welfare, nor be injurious to the public residing in or living through the area. Again, that is the second reading of the required motion.
Motion by Jim. Second by Ron. Roll call, please.
Ashley? Yes. Teresa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Next is ordinance number 860, 2019, an ordinance of the City of Dry Ridge, Grant County, Kentucky, amending the Dry Ridge zoning ordinance by changing the size requirement of Class 5 signs from 36 inches to 60 inches. By summary, this does exactly as it speaks, that in Section 14.6 of the Dry Ridge zoning code, Class 5 signs will move from 36 inches to, changing the size requirement of Class 5 signs from 36 inches to 60 inches. Again, this was approved or recommended, I should say, by the Grant County Planning Commission based on a public hearing on October 31st, 2017. It is authorized pursuant to KRS 100.203. It is consistent with the purpose of the Dry Ridge zoning code's regulations related to signs. The text amendment is reasonable, and the proposed text amendment will not have an adverse effect on public health, safety, or welfare, nor be injurious to public residing in or living through the area. That is the second reading as well. It would require a motion and vote.
Do I have a motion? I make a motion to approve. I'm second. First by Ray, second by Clay. Roll call.
Ashley? Yes. Teresa? Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Next is the first reading. It is ordinance number 861-2019. It's an ordinance of the City of Dry Ridge, Grant County, Kentucky, creating the non-elected city official of city administrator and amending the Dry Ridge pay plan to include the position of city administrator. By summary, you can see the job description, position summary, as well as the essential functions of this position. This position is not currently in the employment manual, and to simplify matters, I'm also including in the pay plan classification, and the pay plan classification for this position would be a grade 113, which is consistent of the other department heads. This is just a first reading, and I would ask the clerk to note that we have done the first reading. There's no action required tonight on that motion or on that ordinance.
What is the pay scale, what is the
40,000 to 70,000, I think is what a grade 13 is. I may have rounded it.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I hear that it's not going to be somebody new, it's going to be just, I'm not sure how the administration works.
So I'm going to answer the first part of the question, then I'm going to punt to our mayor. All we're doing tonight is the first reading. The second reading, which we are actually asking to be a special meeting next Monday, to be the second reading, is creating the position. Council has absolute right to create this position. And then it is my understanding, if you want to jump in now, as to how you plan on filling this position.
Right, Ken Little will be the one that fills the position. And that position comes available.
So we'll end up, will we end up needing to get somebody to do sewer as well?
Please?
Will we end up needing somebody new to get to do sewer?
No.
Again, can do both positions?
Yes. And there will be no pay raises or anything, but right now, so everything's done. As far as money-wise, we're gonna actually be less because of Brent leaving. We're saving his salary plus his benefits and his insurance. So we're probably going to be saving somewhere, I don't know what his benefits were, but somewhere around $65,000 in total. So that's where we're at on that.
So we're basically just, I guess my question is that just giving him a title of such, or, I'm trying to figure it out because it's something we haven't done before.
Right. Yeah, he will have, a title to have authority over the departments.
My concern was, as we stand right now in the sewer department, if it's installing a PO, the pay rate, or is the pay, forgot the technical code for it, but he's coded at 111, which is about 20,000 less than being coded at 113.
Right, but we are.
And on the high end.
Right,
On the
right.
high end.
As of right now, until budget time comes to see if this is, he's gonna have a 3-month period to see if this is gonna do what we wanna do, and then we'll address it there.
This is like a 3-month probation. So the duties that were listed in this ordinance, they're going to go in conjunction with the duties that he has already as student. Okay.
We have enough time.
Will this involve him to have quite a bit of overtime because
Okay, there's no other thoughts on that, we'll move on to Ms. Ford. This is municipal order of the City of Dry Ridge in Grant County, Kentucky, making the written determinations required by KRS 82.083 for the sale or other disposition of other property owned by the city. Pursuant to KRS 82083, we have to spell out in writing the basis for the surplusing, and as indicated on the second page, property that's being disposed of is a 2017 Police Interceptor utility with the VIN number that is marked there, as well as a German Shepherd. I think in my 20-year career, this is the first time we've ever surplused a dog. But it has a good home, which is the important
But
thing.
we're not, you're right. To start, you have to run the word surplus, but it's not really surplus in the dog, so.
So it's the vehicle and the dog are used as a unified canine unit. The method of disposition is the sale to the Madison County Sheriff's Department for $31,000. This does require a motion in a second, unless the mayor wants to explain kind of what's happening here.
We can make it, we're going to get into the full details, but we ran into a malfunction with our K-9 officer. He is no longer with us. We didn't want to have to do this, but as the city, we really don't have a choice because we can't even hire a police officer by himself. So we definitely are not going to be able to find someone to run this K-9. It's not really what we wanted to do, but it's going to be the best for the city of Dry Ridge. The K-9 was not ever used properly. More than likely, he rode around the back of the truck most of the time and didn't do anything. The truck, I don't even know what you could consider it. There's not a human being that would have even wanted to get in the vehicle when we received it back. I can't even explain it. I can't. It's something that there's no normal person would have gotten in this vehicle. Nobody. I don't care who it was. It was terrible. So we had to take it and get it cleaned, of course. But then, of course, we've had an accident occur on this vehicle a month or so ago, out Jack's Glass. Ran into one of those big boulders out there and did about $2,000 worth of damage to the vehicle. So that was, not ever fixed. So we contacted, the Madison Sheriff's Department contacted us and was very interested in it, and that's that's what we came up with a price on. They will take the vehicle without the repair of $2,000. They will take and give us back the computer, the module, the printer, and all that, which is about $2,500. So by the time we depreciate it out, you're probably not losing anything on the vehicle. So, if you wanted, I can get in depth, but it's probably not a good idea. It was just a bad situation for all of us, and it got worse. So, we pretty much not had much choice but to do that. If there's anybody had a discussion on it, willing to listen?
Is there a long time for the dog or the
No.
car?
No.
That's been,
No.
that goes through.
No, there's no wrong.
If I'm not mistaken, the Kena was purchased with donation.
The actual vehicle or?
No, the Kena itself, no cash.
Right.
Next year, there might be. Easier than that. Was it?
What's that?
Dog money was donated to the dog, or was it?
100% of the money that was used to purchase the dog was donation. It was donated by the community.
Was it donated by people?
By people, businesses in the community, because they wanted to see an eradication of the drug problem.
So the motion's in order, I'll make a motion that we let, you say Madison County? Yes, sir. Madison County Advocates Price and Sale.
Motion by Clay,
Second.
second by Carissa. Roll call, please.
Ashley? Yes. Carissa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I make a statement or a discussion in regards to the bill carry money out that money that we received in regards to have the Madison County buy the canines and equipment, especially considering the fact that our community raised the money to purchase these canines. How are we putting that back into our budget?
Well, and we haven't done anything on it yet, because we gotta make sure of what, we can,
The final bill.
right, we can do, we can go through the things and do what you guys want to do, or.
I would like to bring up, I would like to see the money that, for the safety of the canines to go back into the community that brought this for us. I want to make sure that the community is respected for that efforts.
And it wasn't, it wasn't that we wanted to do this by
No,
far,
no.
but we can't even get a police officer, so.
Right. But just out of respect to the community, maybe bring that back up in the future, for sure.
Okay. Got an executive order here, 2019-03. Executive order number 2019-03, effective date March 18, 2019. Board of Adjustments appointment pursuant to the authority granted by the city ordinances regarding appointment of the Board of Adjustments for the city of Garden, Kentucky. I hereby order that Gary Stevens be appointed to the Garden Board of Adjustments for a 4-year term effective through January 31st, 2023.
This is on the agenda of 2019-04. And make sure this one is correct.
Which one?
On the agenda for 2019-04, next is 2019-03, I just make sure. I don't know, I'll have to pull the executive order, so I don't know what order it is. If it's incorrect on this one, we'll switch it. If it's incorrect on the agenda, we'll switch it. I just want to point that out.
Is this going to change? We'll make those changes to the, to the paperwork.
You can do it, I mean, you just tell people, to make sure everyone's comfortable with it, that you say that by going to the authority.
We'll have that special meeting next Monday, 3/25/2019, if everybody's available.
I'm not sure. I've got some work to do at mine. I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday. I have to make sure.
Jim makes a motion to adjourn. Second by Marissa. Thank you all.